Warning, this video contains opinions. Yes, I know, crazy. And if you don't like opinions, then click off. There's no need to get political about a children's racing game, so without further ado, let's do this. Of all tracks in Wii, I feel like Luigi Circuit is probably the worst out of them all. I don't think it's that bad of a track, but it is just very boring just driving straight with a couple soft turns. Not too many interesting shortcuts and visuals aside from the giant Luigi statue, but even as far as beginner tracks go, this one just isn't for me. Shy Guy Beach is another track that I've never been a fan of, and this is by far the worst looking track. I mean, just look at that water. It still looks like it was ripped straight out of the GBA. The layout isn't too interesting either, but at least it has better shortcut potential than Luigi Circuit. The crabs and bombs feel like an annoyance rather than an obstacle, and the jumps are also very annoying. I also find it funny how the umbrella at the end of the track can stop a vehicle at full speed. I feel like Yoshi Falls is one of those tracks that you absolutely love as a kid because it's like, oh, waterfalls, I hope I don't fall off. But looking at it now, this track is nothing but a soggy donut. The layout says it all. Also, I find it very awkward to drift on this track, I don't know why. Very controversial opinion, but I really don't like GCN Mario Circuit. And I feel like part of that reason is that it's too similar to the Wii's version, and I don't know, I can't really explain it, but it doesn't vibe with me when I'm playing it. And those jumps at the end can be a bit janky to trick off of if you aren't aligned right. And those piranhas at the end have ruined my race a bunch. Look, it's not that bad, I just don't like playing on it. Peach Beach is a track that I have very mixed feelings about. Like, the track feels very short, which isn't a bad thing, but the beach part has always been kind of strange to me because it's so wide with the raising water. It's a bit weird to drive on. Also, again, the water looks bad, but better than Shy Guy Beach. I also like the little dick birds that run along the track and ruin your race, but yeah, the track's not too bad, just nothing too special. Also, I don't like how they got rid of the shortcut from Double Dash. Despite Ghost Valley 2 having very boring visuals and layout, I see it as being very fun to drive on. It's a short track, but done right, I would say. With a little shortcut, falling blocks, and overall the atmosphere is very ominous and I kinda like it. But it's being held back because, like I said, there isn't really much going on, and it's almost a free win if you start off in first. There also isn't too much to say about Wii's Mario Circuit besides your average circuit track. The layout is a long figure 8, and to me, the most funnest thing in this track is taking the shortcut right next to the chain chomp. A good track to start off the Flower Cup. Mario Circuit 3. Okay, I swear I don't hate circuit tracks. I think this one's the best out of the Mario ones though. It definitely has the most fun layout, with a lot of windy turns, but the simple feel and chaos is what makes this Mario Circuit better than the other ones. The shortcut at the end is very fun as well. Sherbet Land is one of the most nostalgic tracks to me, mainly because as a kid I would always try and go to this island with a penguin on it. But seriously, this track is so long and slidey and boring, but to me racing on it's very charming, I don't know why. It's probably the music, and seeing nothing but ice and penguins, I don't know, but I'll always have a special place for it. I will always respect Moo Moo Meadows for doing its job well at being a new player friendly track. It's short and sweet, better than Moo Moo Farm, and it's always fun to look at the cows and saying, "It's your mum" to the person next to you. I've always had a soft spot for Desert Hills. Sure, it's very forgettable, but I think having mushrooms at the end of a lap is fun to skip all those windy turns. And apparently, this is the least chosen track in all of Mario Kart Wii Online. It ain't much, but I'll always defend it. Pretty underrated if you ask me. Now, I'm not sure if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but I've not always been the biggest fan on Grumble Volcano. It is kind of like how I said I feel about GCN Mario Circuit. Like, it's not a bad track by any means, it just doesn't click with me. I will say that's a very creative idea to have parts of the track dissolve over time, and the music and theming works perfectly. And it has some of the best shortcut potential of any other track. However, getting hit randomly by those fireballs and getting target shocked in the lava are just a few nitpicks I have. Again, not a bad track, it just doesn't click with me. Mario Raceway is always a blast to play on. It is so random and luck based on who wins because of the huge shortcuts someone can just take with mushrooms or stars at the end. Excellent music and layout. I can overall say that it gets very chaotic, which is pretty fun. Always a track where anything can happen. Wario's Gold Mine is one of the most punishing tracks, especially for new players out there, but I can't deny that it is always a blast to play on. It feels like you're on a roller coaster and blitzing through the mines, dodging items and minecarts. It can be pretty fun. But if you're a light character, you're just dead. But holy crap did I hate this track as a kid. There are so many problems I can list about DK Jungle Parkway, like the very sharp corners, the slow cannon ramp that leads into a wide turn, the narrow bridge, but actually competing and doing the tricky turns can actually be surprisingly enjoyable. It's very lengthy as well, and it is always fun to mess with people by spamming items on the bridge. The music's peaceful, and I don't know, the atmosphere being in a jungle just feels nice. I'm gonna cop a lot of hate for this, but I really don't think Mushroom Gorge is as good as people say it is. Like, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but it's gonna take a lot more than just bouncing on mushrooms and terrible respawn points for me to love it. Huge props for the gap jump though. I do actually like racing on it, it's just people overhype it way too much, I'm sorry. I never realized how fun Bowser Castle 3 is until recently. Playing on it is actually very fun, and has awesome layout. These low jumps are satisfying to low trick on, and there is even an amazing shortcut. It may be flat and not look great, but the good things I mentioned more than just make up for it. And that last straightaway always gets pretty tense to the end. DK Mountain still feels like the awesome GameCube track it once was, and I'm all for it. You get a shot out of a very long cannon and scale down a mountain. It's very windy, and there's even a cool shortcut. What's not to love about it? Moonview Highway is what Toad's Turnpike wishes it was. Way more cars, cool spots to drive, and lots of boost panels. I've gotten hit so many times that at this point I've pretty much memorized all the car patterns. This track should return someday, it would be awesome. Daisy Circuit is definitely another underrated track in my eyes. It looks pretty in the sunset and has an awesome theme. The layout isn't something special, and that huge U at the end can be pretty difficult. But the other stuff, like the stair shortcut, which kinda sucks ass, the Luigi and Daisy statue, and the tunnel, which I swear always contains at least one banana in every time I go inside. Still fun in my books. Peach Gardens has to be one of the most interesting layouts in all of Mario Kart, having an alternate path after almost every corner. Mushrooms are also pretty broken on this track, because you can cut through the gardens, and I like how they put the items behind the chain chomps. I think that's a pretty good idea. I would say though that the remake in 8 Deluxe is way better, but this is still an awesome track. Bowser's Castle for the Wii is exceptionally awesome. Every 10 seconds there's something new, like wobbly roads, sharp corners, giant mechanical Bowser shooting fireballs at you, gnarly half pipes, fire wheel spinner things, and giant lava geysers. You know this game is good when I just described an excellent track, and it didn't even crack the top 10. Speaking of top 10, I personally think that N64 Bowser's Castle is slightly better than the Wii's, and that's because of the atmosphere. It actually feels like we're in a castle. The disturbing music also says it all. This track is very long and has blinding turns, so you'll be hitting items a lot. There'll be thwomps to ruin your day. I still like the one in the cage as well. You even get to drive outside on the spiral section. This is the only Bowser Castle to ever be remade besides the GBA ones, and I'm glad a track like this made it in. Bringing back Waluigi Stadium is such an awesome idea, because the added half-pipes make a track like this perfect for Mario Kart Wii. And tricking on them is so satisfying. I'm not a huge fan of that last corner before the finish line, but other than that, this track is an absolute banger. Now for these last 8 tracks, they are all so good that they were so hard to rank, to the point where any of them can be interchanged. But anyway, I went with Delfino Square as number 8. This track has beautiful scenery taking place in a small town. It's got very cool shortcuts, which I'm not good enough to do. And this bridge is very, very iconic. Getting wheelie bumped at the start is always annoying, but it's fine. This is the best retro track in the game. I'm sorry it's not making top 5, but I'm putting Maple Treeway here. This used to be my favourite track of all time, and for a lot of people it still is. The music is gorgeous, the autumn theme is cool, and the Wigglers try to spice things up. Very memorable, but I feel like there are some tracks that barely edge it out. Arguably the most iconic track ever, Coconut Mall is getting number 6. I love this track heaps. You go inside a shopping centre for God's sakes. Pull some awesome shortcuts and come flying out of the mall onto the car park where me's get in your fucking way. But that's why we love it. And who can resist jamming to its revolutionary theme? This might be a shock to a lot of you, but Dry Dry Ruins is getting top 5. This track is so fun to me, with all the shortcuts, the satisfying wall glitches to save time. It's a banger theme, and I like how the ruins fills up with sand every lap. It doesn't impact the game too much, but it's a nice touch. As well as the Yoshi Sphinx, I really do think this track needs to get the recognition it deserves, and this is the highest you'll ever see me rate a desert course. DK Summit / Snowboard Cross is DK Mountain's cooler brother. Seriously, this should have been called Funky Kong Summit or something. But anyway, you get shot out of a barrel, and down you go. There is even a section of the track which I like to call Mount Wank. There is also the single or the double shortcut to save time. Then you trick along the half pipes, avoiding snowboarding shy guys. Like, wow, this track is god tier. I dare you to try and find someone out there that doesn't like Cooper Cape. If you do, they're lying, because this track is very stunning in every way. The rushing water, which is very fast and very awesome. It has a very cool underwater section as well, and just overall very fun, with especially this nightmare of a waterfall at the end. This was originally going to be my number one pick, but I decided not to be boring, so here is Rainbow Road. I mean, this is arguably the hardest track in the franchise, but it is very fun and by far the best Rainbow Road. Like, where do I begin? The moon jump, the wobbly road, the two holes in the middle of the road, which can be boosted over with a mushroom. This corner, which I'm pretty sure has killed more people than malaria. The infamous star cannon, that weird ass jump, and two optional roads to take, which nobody knows which is faster. You even get star bits if you have a Mario Galaxy save file. Like, what's not to love? Even the music to top it all off. It even got announced for Mario Kart Tour, which, okay, they ruined it, but it's still in there. Love it or hate it, but Toad's Factory is my number one pick. And a lot of that is because it's like the coolest idea for a track in my opinion. It's essentially the item box factory, and you get to go in and dodge stampers, and then go across those bridges, dodging crates, then go into this curve which speeds you up if you're on the green, then you trick outside, and have to try and hit all the boost panels before the bulldozers block them. Not to mention the music, oh my god, one of the best themes out there. And I'm so shocked to this day that this track has never been remade once. Please Nintendo, I know you can do it. Well, that's about it for this video. Please like and subscribe and tell me what your thoughts are in the comments. I had a lot of fun making this, so yeah, goodbye.